Okay, PJ Net Live on Wednesday night with Michelle Medlock Adams. Everything is checked out finally, running smoothly. We will switch to Studio 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, welcome to PJ Net Live, and thank you for your patience. Michelle Medlock Adams has been frantically trying to connect to the PJ Net green room, and she is standing by, okay, but we'll bring her on in a second. But folks, she has a new phone. So folks, we're going to make some adjustments between now and next week. I'm going to send her another new phone. I'll probably get one at the flea market and say this will probably work out better. Michelle, you are so big. You are.
I mean, what is going on with that? No one wants to ever be big. That's not a good thing. So my other one, the sound went out on it right before. So my husband's like, well, let's just go get you a new phone. You're due for a new phone. So I'm like, yay! So I get the iPhone XS, I think, and I don't know what is that. That's why I was trying frantically to get on. I'm like, why? It cut my head off. I only had like half a head. I don't know. So. I mean, large and in charge tonight. I don't know what to tell you. This is what's going on.
Well, Michelle, this is the perfect end to the frantic day for me. We were emailing. Michelle always, folks, whoever the guest is, we don't have a script on PJ Net Live, okay? But we don't go in and say, well, hey, Michelle, hey, Mark, how you doing? What do you want to talk about either? We try to have at least a point of departure.
Right.
And I try to always allow the guests to talk about what they want to talk about. And Michelle brought up this topic that at first I didn't understand. It's probably a guy-girl thing. The in-between times. Tell me what the heck you mean. I have made a whole sermon out of it, but I may be totally wrong. Tell me what you mean. Life is about the in-between times. What?
Yes.
Explain.
Okay, so the reason I was thinking about this is we recently got our galleys back on our book called They Call Me Mom.
What's a galley? To help me out.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that's like your proofs of your book that before it goes to press. It's like one last chance to look through it. Okay. And so you really study it. You read every word and make sure.
Last chance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last chance to make sure you don't look stupid, right, in print. So anyway, one of the devotions in this They Call Me Mom book that I wrote with Bethany, it comes out, Bethany Jett, who was on the program a few weeks ago, it comes out in November. We were talking about one of the sidebars, which is like a little side story to the main story, was about taking good pictures of your kids and of having you in them. And it was just kind of all these pointers. And one of the things the photographer said really, I interviewed this person, really struck me. I thought, that is so important. She said, often, Michelle, the best pictures are taken between the photos that you're trying to take. And she said they're called the in-betweens.
In-between.
And so of course, I'm a journalist like you. So I'm like, what does that even mean? Tell me more. And she said, well, the candid photos, you posed for the pose photos.
Yeah.
The hand on the hip and you sucked it in, you turned your head just right. You know the drill. That's what women do. They put the right foot out and kind of cock their head a little bit. And you make sure you've got your good side and you suck in your belly and everything looks good. But it's the in-between times where, somebody drops an earring and you're all laughing, or somebody falls in a hole as you're trying to get set up and everybody's cracking up and being natural and laughing. Those are when the real shots happen. Those in-between times often create the absolute magic on the camera, the best shots, because everybody's real and just being themselves, and you can see them genuinely enjoying life. And so I just thought that just hit me. That'll preach. And I think that's what we do, not just posing for pictures, but often in life that we're always going for that next pose shot. We're always going for that next, promotion in our job, or that next vacation, or even living for Friday for the weekend. And we're failing to enjoy just the everyday crazy fun stuff that we get to do. Even if it's just a mundane day, every day is absolutely a gift. Every moment of every day is a gift. And if we view it as that, we won't have to wait till that next big thing to be excited and put on that smile and turn the right way. We can just enjoy the everyday, those in-betweens, celebrate every day. I think we'd enjoy the journey a whole lot more if we did that.
Yes, this will preach. And yeah, I kind of had it right. I did have it right. One of the things I like about what we do here is we are unscripted, and we just really kind of have a, some people are a little scared to get on camera. That I know that doesn't include you or me, but I try to tell them, so we're just going to have a conversation, and
Yes.
everybody gets to kind of eavesdrop and even comment in the chat room if they so desire. But yes, you kind of got me thinking all afternoon, because of life and the treadmill that we're on. We're always on this journey for some success, and even when we get it, that thrill of victory is, the shelf life is too short.
Yes.
It's an addiction. Now, I'm as hard driven, type A as you're going to find, but at the same time, I really, really need a break sometimes. And the moment that I'm trying to recapture is, there's very few moments in my life, but when I mow the grass and go in and take a shower, and I step out and look at, I've accomplished something and it is good, and I reflect back on the book of Genesis, when God looked at his creation and said, this is good, this is good, this is good. And at least mowing the grass, the shelf life of that is, even in the summer, 2 or 3 days later, it still looks, well, good.
Right.
But real life isn't that way. I mean, my wife was telling me tonight, Mark, you've got to slow down. And it robs the joy. I truly, truly love what I do. And I get the sense, Michelle, that you do too.
Yes.
But sometimes it saps you. And I need to abide. I need to relax. And I don't see any chance of doing that. I tell people the last day I had off was March 31st. And they say, that's a long time ago. I said, of 2004.
I get you.
I just want to abide. You know what I mean? That verse, abide in Christ.
Yes. Abide in me, yes.
And let God just, and we're so close all the time. Well, we got some things going. We got people in the chat room. This writers conference has got some energy going. And
Yes.
I want to drink coffee to enjoy the coffee rather than get a jump start so I can be on this show.
Got you. Yep. I'm the same way with my energy drinks. I know. Yeah, I think the thing that we're all learning, Bethany and I just had this conversation, having been on 2 book deadlines, actually 3 at one point during this year, and just, you hit a deadline and you're like, yay, oh, we can't celebrate, we have to go back and work some more because something else is due in 2 weeks. You're so grateful for the work, and you're so honored that God's using you, no matter what your profession is, that sometimes you don't take time to just bask in what he's doing in your life and in others' lives. And I think we get so busy doing God's work that sometimes we just lose the joy. We lose our focus. And I think the thing that has really hit me recently was when I was talking with my daughters, and both of them have little babies now. Abby's got 2, a 2-year-old and an 8-month-old, and then Allison has little Ren, who's 5 months. And we were talking about raising these kids, and boy, when they're little, I mean, you haven't slept, and talk about joy being zapped. You're so grateful to be a mom, but you're also like, could somebody take this child for a moment? Because if you get a bath, every day, like, that's an accomplishment. And so I was saying to both of them, I'm like, I remember being right where you are and thinking, oh, then it's going to be so much better when they're both out of diapers, or it's going to be so much better when they can sit up. But like, when you just are always looking for the time it's going to be so much better, or you're going to have this next thing, this next achievement, this next milestone, then you don't enjoy all those in-betweens till you get to the next milestone. So I was preaching to them and telling them, enjoy this time, enjoy all these little funny things that they're doing, and take pictures and write in your journal, and don't forget all this. And the Lord saying to me, hi, same to you, sister. Yeah, right? So I thought, wow, that, sometimes God parents me as I parent my kids. It's always been that way.
I think that God furnishes these little things in my life. There are certain things that will calm my spirit. One of them is rain. Which, the other is geese or ducks, waterfowl. I grew up duck hunting on the lake, and I know that's kind of a blood sport, but at some point I put the gun down and just like to be out there.
Yeah.
And when geese fly over, they're so majestic. And my spirit just calms.
Yeah.
And I need that right now, especially. And there's other times when you're coaching football, before the game, before the crowd, You go out there on the field and the lights are on, and the dew kind of settles, and it's, the blackness of the sky is pierced by those bright lights. And I just take a deep breath and say, this is what I live for. It's not even about winning or losing at that point. It's about the game and what it means to me, the matching wits with the other coach, and the respect that teams have for one another, or usually. Let me take a little detour. We have some folks in the chat room, and I just want to make you aware who's out there. Doug Carter is with us again tonight. Hazards 4, folks, come on Friday night. Hazards 4 is our host on Friday night. We have some really good tunes. Speaking of Friday, before I forget, Friday at 11 a.m. we're having Twitter Boot Camp for Christian authors. We have a panel of experts assembled. I'm being power Twitter users with over 100,000 followers type thing. And we're going to tell you, here's what not to do, here's what to do. Brand new face, I think, Renee Leonard Kennedy. Welcome, Renee.
She's my friend.
You have friends?
I have a couple. I love Renee. We drove to and from the last conference, like a couple, 3 hours each way, and we're buddies. Yeah.
Sunbelt Girl is with us, and Tammy from Georgia, who is also a cheerleader.
All right.
You cheerleaders have some kind of special bond.
Yeah, we have to stick together. It's true.
But, I think that on the one hand, God has not called us to serial defeat and weariness. Yet we're at war. We're warriors. And I'm to the point of thinking the most spiritual thing I could do right now is rest. You ever feel like that?
Yeah, I need to feel like that more, I think. When you're wired, like we've talked about this, when you're kind of a type A and you're a get it doneer and you're check off the list, sometimes we drive so much. We're so driven. The problem is we lose sight of where we're going often. And so one of the things I was doing an interview yesterday with the womenspeakers.com and with the gal that leads that, Marnie Swedberg. She's amazing. We were talking about, how do you sell 4 million books? And so she was interviewing me about that. And at one point I said, I think the thing that I've learned, if I could tell my 25-year-old self something, if I could, go back all those years and say, here's a piece of advice I would give you, it would be this: not every opportunity that is good is God.
You said that
is so true. I just know that when I say I don't want to ever disappoint anybody, kind of a people pleaser, and so I oftentimes will just say yes to things and think, well, it's a great opportunity. This is really good, but I won't check with God to see if it's really God, because it's not. Oftentimes it's not, and so what happens is you get so busy doing all these things that you didn't even check with God about to see if you're supposed to say yes to, that you end up having to say no to something He actually had for you. So now I've really gotten better at this, but not as good as I want to be. About if I have to say no to somebody, I realize by saying no to them, I'm saying yes to God, because I know that God's got this for me, and I can't be great at everything. You can be good at a lot of things, but you can only be great at a couple of things. And so you really need to put your giftings where God has you and just focus on those things, and then let somebody else do the things that you're just good at, because there's somebody else who's probably great at that. Somebody else will step up. We're not the center of the universe. I know that's a shocker, but we aren't. So let God use somebody else in that area.
It can be even more profound. I've been involved in a lot of men's ministry, and I'm very passionate about it. I think there's a tremendous need for men, men's ministry. And I started on this journey and trying to get the churches on board. And basically the churches are not on board. Most of the churches that I'm affiliated with are happy to have a monthly men's breakfast, which is rather meaningless. And that's it. Now, I don't really consider that men's ministry. And so I was gung-ho, going to do this, that, and the other, and got myself all angry at church and church leadership to the point I was bitter. And it dawned on me that I'm angry at people that are on my team, or that they're supposed to be anyway. And it dawned on me, God just hit me with a 2x4, and He said, I never called you to fix this. And then I got thinking, maybe Satan wanted me to fix this because he knew that I couldn't. And he knew I would just get mad at the church. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it robs your joy. It robs your joy. And I think it's still kind of rooted in this idea that's obsolete, is we've got to earn God's favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't.
And that's not at all true. No. And I think that's harder if you are one of those people pleasers. You think, if I'm good enough, if I do enough, if I serve enough, if I go enough places in the name of the Lord, then I'll be acceptable. Then he'll like me. He already calls you approved. You're already his favorite. He already loves you. Says he crowns us with his favor and glory. He adores you. And I, someone that I really respect in the ministry once said, so many of us go to the throne like God's mad at us. And what we really need to be thinking is that God's madly in love with us. He adores us. He's not mad at you. He wants you to just crawl up in his lap and rest, is what you said a while ago. I mean, how long has it been for all of us till you just took time not to go with him with this big long list, a laundry list of prayer requests
I need this
studying your
fix
journal,
this,
reading your designated verses and going through 4 different devotionals, and you're on a plan and you're going to read the Bible in a year and you're doing all that. But how long has it been you just sat in his presence and just listened? It's a two-way street. He likes to talk back if you'll just be quiet long enough. And I'm talking to myself. You have to quit talking to hear from somebody else. And so you have to just sit in his presence and say, Father, what do you have for me today? What do you want to download to me today? I just want to be with you. That's when things change. That's when you can go through life with joy. When you hook up with him and it's a constant conversation all day. He's got, God's never in a hurry. You don't notice that? He's not stressed. He's
got all the time in the world.
He's got his own rhythm, but we're like constantly, like you said, on that rat race. That's not his best. But many of us settle for that.
Well, and it is an addiction, the thrill of victory. But the shelf life is so short because it's not long after that you need another victory and a bigger victory, and it goes on, and you become, literally, I feel sometimes, in bondage. Absolute bondage. And I've done it to myself.
That's it. And that's what's most frustrating, was it's nobody's fault but our own for doing this kind of stuff. I always tell when I'm speaking to authors at conferences, because before you get that first book out, there's this immense pressure to just do whatever you have to do, build your platform, whatever, sell a kidney, you'll do whatever you have to do to get your book on the shelf. And seriously, people are just so stressed out. I remember being there too. But the thing is, and it's exciting, whether it's your first book or your 94th book, you're still excited. But the thing is if that first book, if that does it for you and you're just like, this is it, now, I can now go to heaven and be happy that I've done one book. It's exactly what you said, that shelf life for that feeling of accomplishment and joy. Well, guess what? Just in a few months, unless you're really, really a best-selling author, that book will no longer be on the end cap. It will no longer be face out. It might end up in the Goodwill. Oh, yeah, I've seen mine there. Signed to people even. I'm like, well, thanks a lot, Joe Ellen. Like it's signed to somebody. So, but that's when you realize, okay, I'm going to have another fix. I have to have another book on the shelf.
Another fix.
If that's what's bringing you joy, is that next thing, that next accomplishment, that next promotion, that next book, that next vacation. If that's what you're living for, you're missing out on living.
You're in bondage.
It's no way to live. And it's no way to when you're forced, what happens sometimes is you do this for so long, you go, you push, you strive. And at some point you end up on your hind end, whether it's a sickness or whatever. Sometimes it's a forced
God will slow you down.
And I don't want to have to learn the hard way. I've done enough learning the hard way stuff in my years. I'm ready to just go, you know what, God, I get it. It's time to slow down. You know how everybody gets a word for each year, they'll ask God for a word. And I think I shared this with you in our earlier broadcast, but my word this year was intentional. And so it's great. So everything I've done this year, I've really made intentional decisions, whether it's a yes or a no. God, is this you or is this just me? Is this a good thing or is this a God thing? Been very intentional about my time and things. The problem is that wasn't my word last year. So all the things last year I said yes to for this year is all,
still with
exploding. You. Yeah. So people are like, hey, I thought your word was intentional. I'm like, okay, next year you'll see the fruits of that. Because this year I'm just running with like a chicken with its head cut off, from one thing. I mean, I'm leaving for Nashville again on Friday. It's just go. And so no more. It took a couple of years to figure out this isn't God's best. And I'm grateful for every opportunity, but I'm definitely slowing down. I'm checking with God just to take the things that he wants me to take and not just say yes because I think I'm supposed to. Who told me I'm supposed to? I didn't check with him, but I'm checking with him now.
I think as we get older, we get wiser, don't we?
For sure. Absolutely.
Because
Yes, we do.
you are living the life of a 25-year-old just like in a blender. Let me ask something.
Yeah.
Is bass fishing peaceful for you?
Oh, it is so peaceful. There's a couple reasons why. First off, we usually fish in places where you can't get any cell reception. So there's no dinging going, no ping, ping on my phone. Nobody could call Jeff. All of his clients we're just out in the middle of usually nowhere, right? Where nobody can reach us. And that's kind of nice to not have to deal with any of that. Secondly, we're just Jeff and I just being together. When you're out there and there's no distractions, it's just the two of us on the boat. We get to talk and just be together and just, remember why we're in love. I mean, it's just kind of nice to be together. It's like we're teenagers again. It's so nice to be together. And then third, if there's a third one, I really like to catch bass. It's so much fun. Now we throw them back, but I really enjoy that just I don't know, just being in there with nature. Oh, I love it. It's just there's something about it. It gets my heart beating in a good way. So yes, I love it.
Here's my problem. I bought a camper, years ago. And when I got it, I began to realize, this camp, I was seeking that abiding, that rest, that time with my wife, and our daughter had just been born, and I said I want to have some quality time. Then I realized driving a truck with a 36-foot fifth wheel behind you is work. And when you get to the campsite, you got to set that camper up. Guess what that is? Work. And again, it was the opposite of what I intended. Is like, when am I going to get this relaxing moment when I can just, we got to light the grill, and you get so caught up in the activity. It was rather stressful. Now, I did all the work. Of course, my wife and daughter were abiding. They were resting. They were having a great time, but I was working my buns off. and I thought, this isn't it. And it robs the joy. And I have a need, and when you email me this topic, I just need to slow down. But like you said, I've got these seeds planted, and they're coming to fruition. Yeah. And what are you supposed to do? Let the weeds take over? I mean, it's tough. And I just need a break. And I think God wants us to be at peace. Now, when it's time for war, it's time for war. Mm-hmm. But we've already won. Okay. So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we work so hard, and we've already got the victory. And then if we're working so hard over here, where He didn't really call us to work, when it's time to really go to battle for what He's got for us, our actual assignment, we're too doggone tired to actually go. We're like, could you send somebody else? Because I'm really tired. Well, that's just not His best.
You're in a business, and I know that you may think that computer programming and all this technology is a science, but I promise you it is an art. Mm-hmm. And you cannot be tired and creative. Mm-mm. You can't.
No, same with writing.
Isn't that the irony? You work, you've had nights where we signed off the air and you were up at 7:00 the next morning, still at it, but there's times we do that, but yet that takes away the very strength that fountain of creativity dries up. And then you try to make it happen. Let me tell you something. Yeah. You can't make it happen. It's got to flow out of you. It's got to flow. Right. And I can remember literally praying, God, if I need rest, give me rest. Because it's hard to rest when your mind is going 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. Or God, give me strength if I need strength. But God, I need your help. I can't rest, and I can't sleep, and I can't continue either. It's a miserable way to live.
And it's not what God called for us. It's not His best. There's a scripture in Proverbs that says that God promises sweet slumber, and His word is His word. I take it at face value. So on those nights when I can't turn my mind off, I do a couple of things, practical things. One of the things is you need to turn off all of that technology. So my phone's charging in the other room. Otherwise, I'll be like, I'm up. I'll just pick it up and start scrolling and posting and commenting. Before I know, it's 3 a.m. That's stupid. That's not good. So, put your phone in the other room. Turn off the TV. Have a sound machine if you need it. Like they have a rain one. I like.
Oh, my wife does that thunder thing. I love it. I love it.
Jeff likes that one. I like the crickets because it makes me feel like I'm outside. I like the cricket one. I don't know. I like that. So,
Okay.
so that's one thing. But then the other thing is, I will just say, Lord, thank you so much for that. You promised me sweet sleep, and what you say in your word in Proverbs. And so I want you to make good on your word tonight for me, that you bring me sweet slumber. Turn my mind off to only focus on you, Father, and not on all the things that are left to be done. Because otherwise, you'll just toss and turn all night. You can't set your mind off.
I know.
So, I mean, and I'm just telling you that.
And I don't drink anymore, so
promise.
I can't drink myself to sleep like I used to.
That's no longer an option. That's right. And then, we can cut off our caffeine, at 3 or earlier. And all. There are some practical things you can do. You can take a hot shower or a hot bath, and you can put lavender scent in the room. There's lots of things that people who study sleep will tell you are good things for you to do to invoke sleep. But I think the best thing you can do is just commit it to God. All those things on the to-do list, they may carry on to the next day and the next day, but you just have to trust God in that. I think, God is the best organizer, just to say, Lord, I ask you to structure my day. These are some things I feel like I need to get done today. Help me to get these done. But if you give him the first part of your day, you start the day with him and commit it to him. It's so funny. Things that might have taken you twice as long, he just streamlines it. It's like you put him first, and then everything else goes much more smoothly. And it takes a while to figure that out. You try it your way for a while, see how that works. Never works very well. You'll spend twice as long. But when you commit your works to him, what's the word say? He'll be part of it. He'll take care of it. So I just think it's just basic things that we know that we just get busy and forget to do. Stand on the word. Those are your promises.
Well, my wife could tell that I was very fatigued, tonight when I got home from work, and she said, Mark, you need to do your show and then go to bed. I said, I can't do that. I got to make a promo video. She said, Mark, wake up early tomorrow and do it then. How much good is that promo video doing when you launch it at 2 a.m?
She's right.
Michelle, I am not going to do that promo video tonight. I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. And I love the promo videos. And Michelle, I need to wrap it up because we've gone a little bit long, but it's great talking to. I kind of needed to hear this tonight. I really did.
Oh, see, God just knew. We all needed it.
Yeah, and I'm seeing in the chat room, I really appreciate tonight's program. So, Michelle, you are quite the minister. And coming from, the octopus on roller skates saying to slow down and live and relax, it's very refreshing. Michelle, thank you for giving your time, and we'll get you a new phone or something between now and next week where you'll be, where we can see more of you.
The normal size. Yeah.
And thank you. I told Dell last night, you and Dell have introduced me to an entire new world that I did not know exist. And I know that God is in it, because we've been here at PJNet, we have been searching and searching and searching. The perfect blend of, high tech, everything's right. All the needles point north. And I thank you for just taking me in the way you have and Dell has, and just making me part of the writer family, the Christian writer family.
Yes.
And I want to bring plenty of food to the table, but I think we are going to have a feast, and I think we're going to have that abiding time in the time. That it's right. And just thank you for all that you've done in support of PJNet and what we do here.
Of course. I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Well, and we're just getting started. We're getting started. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna get some rest, and you get some rest, and we'll do this again in about a week. What do you say?
That sounds good to me, and I'll get this phone thing figured out.
But between now and then, let's circle up and do a dry run with some. We got to do something here.
We got to do something. I know.
You got it.
All right.
Good night, Michelle.
See you later. Good night.
Well, folks, I have been saying for weeks, we're going to cut this down to 20 minutes because, you see, we're going to start having 2 people on every night, so we got to get this down to 20 minutes, but it just never happens. It's on my mind. I hear you. That's where we're going, but sometimes, you just got to kind of go with it the way it is. And I appreciate your indulgence. Welcome. Just so glad all of you came. And I hope that you'll visit, almost every night. I know everybody can't be here every night. Do make your plans Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We are going to have Twitter Boot Camp, and we're reaching out to the Christian writers and Christian authors out there who need platform. And we have some experts some real experts who really care about you, and will share with you some of the things that sound reasonable are actually not good ideas. And there's a lot of things that you would never have thought of on your own. So we're going to be coaching you because we're interested in your success. Yes, we are, because you're going to be retweeting us. So the same click of the mouse can reach 100 people, or it can reach 10,000. So we want it to reach 10,000. We're here to help, and we look forward to seeing you. We got some more good stuff. Sunbelt Girl has some videos in the queue. Let's let her get to work now as we continue on PJNet Live.